Veteran political reporter Mark Halperin just revealed that a major Trump-Epstein expose is about to drop. Now, if you watched the channel last year when I covered the election, you probably remember that I was ahead of the game and was able to predict the exact day that Joe Biden was going to drop out of the race. And that's thanks to Mark Halperin's reporting. In fact, I said that on a Friday. A lot of people said, Daniel, you're ahead of the news. You're going to make yourself look like a fool. On that Friday, I said Joe Biden will drop out the Sunday of this weekend. And lo and behold, that's exactly when he sent out the letter. And there were two other instances during the election cycle where, again, I was ahead of the game, and that was thanks to Mark Halperin's reporting. And here is what he's saying about this expose that's supposedly coming up.
So let me share something with you that everyone, I say that in air quotes, everyone I know knows, hasn't been publicly reported. Everyone I know believes a major newspaper, one of the top 3 newspapers in the country, is about to publish a piece about President Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? Everyone I know knows that. And people in the White House know that too. When that story drops, if it drops today, and some people think it might, it could drive the day. Sean, Dan, have you heard about this story?
Well, I know because it's been circulating on the left, and I've had to double check that this is not in fact total conspiracy theories. Donald Trump knew Jeffrey Epstein pretty well. And I believe that his early courting of Melania involved Jeffrey Epstein. And that has been reported by mainstream outlets over the last 10 years. Alleged, I guess. I want to be careful.
You've already been, I say with respect, somewhat careless, but keep going.
Yeah, but I think that, if that is where this report is going, it's just collecting and putting together and synthesizing old news.
No, this story has new news. Okay. Sean, what do you know about this story?
Vague, I probably know about Dan level, right. But I don't.
Let me throw out some questions. Let me throw out some questions, and I'd like you to jump in. Let's do it game show style. Either answer them or say, in fact, we don't know. Ready? How did Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein meet?
I don't know.
Don't know. Did Donald Trump ever go to Jeffrey Epstein's townhouse?
Yes.
How many times?
Okay, so part of the reason this really stands out to me is because President Trump's statements over the last few days just didn't make sense to me. Lashing out at the base, calling them crazy, and saying he doesn't want their support, past supporters, stuff like that. It just doesn't make sense with what I publicly know when it comes to President Trump. And so I believe that Mark Halperin is probably right yet again, and that President Trump and the White House are probably aware that this story is coming. And I imagine that Trump's statements calling them past supporters and stuff like that is basically the White House trying to get ahead of the story and try to get a handle of it before it breaks. Now, Mark Halperin did say that it is going to be published by one of the top three newspapers in the country. The top 3 definitely, or top 2 I know for a fact, are the New York Times and the Washington Post. And then the next one would have to be the Wall Street Journal. Now, if I just had to predict, I think based on President Trump's, because like I said, I really believe that President Trump, having had this context, I don't think that those statements on Truth Social and that outrage is necessarily towards his reporters, but it could be towards whoever is publishing this. So if it was published by the Wall Street Journal, which is affiliated and owned by the Murdoch family, then I think that would make a lot of sense. So if I had to put money on who's going to publish this alleged article, again, it's not confirmed. At this point, it's just hearsay, but Mark Halperin is usually right. I would have to guess it's the Wall Street Journal, and that's why President Trump is so outraged, calling them past supporters, saying it's a hoax and stuff like that. And so I would suspect that there's new information, as Mark Halperin said, and that would also explain why the White House got ahead of this, saying that it's a hoax. Now, to be very clear, just because I talk about something on the channel, it doesn't mean that I'm anti-Trump or that I'm trying to discredit him or dogpile on him, as some people say. I have been very open on this channel that I am am an analyst and a commentator. That's what I want to be known for in this space. There are some people like Charlie Kirk, nothing against him, but they are activists, and that's what they do. They cheerlead for their side. And while I obviously have opinions, it's not hard to guess who I support. I obviously voted for President Trump, not just this election, but the last 3 elections. I was very open about that. But I can also be fair, and I can also cover the news and talk about stories that maybe some people find uncomfortable. But you know what? I don't think anything I say on the channel is going to damage President Trump or hurt the MAGA cause. And in fact, according to CNN, Trump's polling numbers are better than ever despite all of this. Take a look.
I mean, look, I think this one surprised me a bit because of all these complaints online going after Trump and the Epstein files. You might think his approval ratings were going down with Republicans. If anything, they're going up. Republicans who approve of Trump, look at our CNN poll. The prior one, 86%. The one out this week, 88% were Republicans. How about Quinnipiac? The prior poll, 87% approve of Republicans. This week out, 90% with Republicans. If anything, Donald Trump's approval rating has gone up since this whole Epstein saga started. He is at the apex or close there too in terms of his popularity with Republican voters, Epstein files, complaints or not.
You just proved that not everything online is real in real life.
Who knew?
Amazing.
Twitter and X are not reality.
Is there any reason that you can find that this hasn't taken hold and hurt him?
Yeah. I mean, on X, all you hear about is the Epstein files. But how about out in the real public? Republicans who said the top issue was Epstein case. The answer is one, and not 1%. One respondent. This is a great little finding that Ariel Edwards-Levy, who of course is part of our polling unit, found. Just one single Republican said that the nation's top problem is in fact the Epstein case. Not much of a surprise that therefore Donald Trump's approval rating has not suffered with Republicans because of the Epstein case, because the bottom line is most Americans say it's not high up on their priority list.
And this comports with everything that I've been reporting on the channel the last few days. Now, yesterday I talked about polling numbers from Rasmussen, but that was talking about the electorate as a whole, including both independents and Democrats. This obviously just talking about the GOP. And that makes a lot of sense, right? President Trump just recently signed his signature legislation so far of his second term. We have the successful strikes in Iran, and we weren't pulled into another forever war. More trade deals are coming through. Most of the economic news, like 90% of it, is very positive. The Treasury just posted a budget surplus for the first time in who knows how long. I mean, there are so many good pieces of information here. And so the reality is that President Trump is putting more points on the board in the good column rather than the bad. You may just completely dislike or in some cases hate how he's handling the Epstein controversy, but that doesn't take away from any of his other wins. And so I think that 100% makes sense there. And so it's not surprising to me that the GOP base is rallying around him. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to last forever. I think that there definitely is a lot of outrage. And when you have people like Laura Loomer, who is one of President Trump's most loyal supporters and someone in the influencer sphere who actually has his ear and actually gives him advice when she is warning him and saying, hey, you need to back off, then I believe that this is an actual real threat, real worry for the coalition. And again, when you take a look at President Trump's statement saying, I don't want their support, they're falling for this Democrat hoax, it really, I think, gives credence to that line of thought. Now, what's interesting here is that Nancy Pelosi, who is for lack of a better term, probably the Democrats' leader right now, because they certainly don't have a leader. There's no 2028 favorite. AOC is still considered part of the fringe. Well, Nancy Pelosi is saying that this Epstein brouhaha is a giant distraction. I mean, she actually agrees with President Trump on something.
Is it your sense there's anything the president can do now to get his supporters to move off of the Epstein issue? Should he? Where do you land on this?
You know, again, this is a distraction. This is a distraction. We have major issues right here with things we're voting on today in the Congress. Again, in terms of the rescission that the president and the Senate have sent back over us to cut all of these resources out of helping poor people throughout the world, to America play its leadership role in soft power to keep us safe and to keep us healthy, so that viruses know no boundary. And instead, we're talking about about this thing, and his own base has its own views of what the president should do. I'll leave it up to them to talk it out. But again, whether it's Jeffrey Epstein or Alcatraz, it's all off the subject of what they're doing with this budget that is harmful to the kitchen table, meeting the kitchen table needs of the American people.
I want to make sure.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi agreeing with President Trump on something, especially in 2025, is not something I had on this year's bingo card. I think she's 100% right that this isn't an issue for Democrats. Now, some of the Democrats obviously are trying to get the administration to release the list or release whatever files are available to be released. But I don't think the party as a whole wants it, because I think there are definitely more Democrat names than Republican names that could be implicated. The way I think of it is that whatever evidence there is in this Epstein case, it's pretty much like nuclear weapons. It is mutually assured destruction for both sides if this potentially comes out. And that's why you have such resistance from all corners. And perhaps that's why even Nancy Pelosi doesn't want it coming out. I'm not saying that she's implicated in it, but certainly we know for a fact there are Democrat names. There are more Democrat names involved than there are on the Republican side. But as always, all of that is just my analysis and commentary, and that's what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So, what do you think about those polling numbers from CNN? Are you surprised? Not surprised? Yeah, let me know your thoughts about that. Personally, I was a little surprised. I expected some of the base to come rallying around President Trump, but I did expect there to be a drop, especially since we know that from strongly approved to strongly disapproved, that those numbers did move. But, you know, it does comport, it does make sense that these numbers would go up given all the other wins. Now, like I said earlier, just because I comment and report on stories, it doesn't mean that I support them. It doesn't mean that I am trying to grift or attack President Trump. No, I've always been very clear on the channel where I want to be. Like, I want to be news oriented. Yes, there is analysis and commentary, and that's my take on things. But I will never be an activist and just, you know, cheer for anyone or, you know, be 100% positive. This is my attempt to be fair and balanced. I can report on the good. I've reported on most of my videos, 90, not even 90, like 97% of my videos on this channel are positive about President Trump. And so for me to make a video here and there that is maybe a little more openly questioning what the administration is saying, it doesn't mean that I'm a turncoat or anything like that. So that's, yeah. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.